सुरेश प्रभु। हाँ प्लीज सुरेश जी, लोकसभा से आप बोल रहे हैं, प्लीज।
Sir, let me support the bill because it involves some very important provisions. As we all know, the financial markets of the world are the backbone of the global economy. In fact, to the extent that a financial derivative market is probably 20 times bigger than the real global economy. In fact, it had grown to more than 60, 70 times bigger than the global economy before 2008, where the global crisis hit through the banking system, and the banking system was affected because of the derivatives market. Now, the derivatives have different kinds of financial products. The underlying security for derivatives could vary from stocks to bonds to interest, commodities, any kind of it. It is necessary because it provides liquidity to the financial market system. It releases the investment that has gone into the real assets and also provides the innovation to the financial services market. So while it is necessary that we should promote such financial products, derivatives in particular, at the same time, there is a need to have prudential oversight on it, regulation on it. And if you want the regulation, then you must make a regulation in a way that it will not kill the innovation, but rather promote it. Now, it's a very difficult regulation to make at any given point of time to ensure both at the same time. And therefore, I compliment the finance minister for bringing out this legislation in a way that it actually deals with and tries to address both the issues at the same time. As I said, if you just leave it as it is and leave it to the market forces, then it could lead to chaos and crisis as it happened in 2008. But if you don't regulate it in a way that it kills the basic purpose of financial innovation, this again is counterproductive. Now let me give an example of how it can function in a way that will benefit Indian economy. The OTC, over-the-counter transaction that take place, which is outside the regulated markets, is something which can release a lot of liquidity into the marketplace. At the same time, when you release the liquidity, and if you do not have a prudential way to regulate it, it can probably sometimes lead to some sort of a crisis again. So now, there are two elements of this bill, and which I really support. One, which tries to ensure, and that is actually the global template now, that G20 also has accepted this, that there should be some margins that should be stipulated when you do OTC trades of this kind. Now, if you make a margin in such a way, that margin will be so high that no transaction will take place ever. So this particular bill actually ensures that there's a netting out of transaction possible. As is always happened in case of a financial institution, there could be exposure of two kinds. On one side, the financial institution may have lent something to somebody or has taken obligation on behalf of somebody. In this case, obligation will be more normal than lending. At the same time, there is a possibility that there could have been receivables or a receiving obligation from the counterparty. Today, in today's regulated market or today's regime, it is not possible that you can net out such two transactions. And that would mean that the parties will have to put in more money into the place, which is not necessary. And therefore, netting out of this transaction of this kind will allow more liquidity to come into the market. So while we prescribe the margin, which is necessary, we also allow the netting it out. And netting out is not just for this margin transaction, but overall. As I said, as we move along, we'll have to find out ways of creating more liquidity into the market, financial instruments into the market. Particularly when Prime Minister Modi has embarked upon a very ambitious target of investing into infrastructure of more than $1 trillion. A good part of that we are also expecting to come from the private sector. And private sector and in any investment of any kind, whether it's infrastructure, in manufacturing or in services or even in agriculture, is always fraught with a risk. So if you have to cover the risk, you have to come up with some derivative product. You have to cover with the risk maybe related to forex markets. And particularly because of the global situation being so fragile, it is always now we are entering into a very unknown territory, uncharted path, in which we don't know what will be the extent to which the forex market will behave. And in such a situation, we'll have to go out with covering the risk related to that. And if you want to cover the risk, you must have a proper situation. So now, for example, the exporter in India, when he's going to sell his product to the foreign buyer, he is actually taking a currency risk. If he covers that risk, he'll be able to get the discounted value at today's price for the money that he's actually getting exposure to. So doing that would mean it. Again, the interest swaps that happen in the banking system in a very significant way. The interest swaps go in several $100 billions actually in India's situation even today. And that happens, which is actually benefiting the financial institution on one hand, at the same time, the person who is going to benefit from some transaction or other. But more importantly, the economy as a whole also benefits. And therefore, we must find out ways of how a transaction can help at a macro level for the economy as a whole, but also as a business level, wherein a businessman can also benefit from it. Now, to do this is a regulation which brings into its ambit all the regulators more or less in the financial services sector, whether it is banks, so through Reserve Bank of India, insurance company through the IRDA, pension funds through PFDI, or also the new financial services center which we have been setting it up, we have already set up, and the regulator which has also been put in place. All of them will be actually like a parent for this organization, for these transactions. One of the party, because there will be always two counterparties for any transaction, one of the party must be regulated under one of such regulators, which in itself is very good idea because it's not happen just outside of anybody's realm. And that too because, as I said, they are mainly OTC transactions. And OTC transactions are necessary, but at the same time, if not properly under some sort of vigilance or care, can actually lead to some sort of a problem. So I think it's a very interesting development. I just want to request the finance minister to look into a very fine point of this particular position. I was just reading it. I don't want to read it again to save the time. But it looks like it says that this party, because we already talk about in this particular says qualified financial contracts. This is the bill which actually deals with qualified financial contracts. It says somewhere that is qualified, which qualified financial contracts will be governed by this will be decided. I don't think the intention of the government would be, or finally the intention of the legislature when we pass the bill finally would be to go into the micromanagement of the instrument. It will be the kind of transaction that we are talking about. It is not the individual transaction or the individual contract that we are talking about. So I think that should be properly explained. I'm sure finance minister, who is really doing a great job in difficult times, would certainly ensure that this particular part of that will be properly taken care of. We also, it is said that it will designate, the regulator will designate which are the qualified parties. I think these are the issues which I think are already, what is meant by the legislation is definitely there, but sometimes the draftsman and drafting the bill could probably lead to some sort of a confusion, which I think we should be able to avoid. There has been a need, and I would urge the finance minister, which he has also mentioned in the budget speech, if I can recall it correctly, that we need to promote a very dynamic, versatile, forward-looking bond market in India. We need a primary as well as a secondary bond market in India. We need to promote debt instruments in a very significant way for financing the growing need of infrastructure. As we always know, the infrastructure in India, which actually needs long-term funds. Some of the problems faced by the banking system today is that their time and demand liabilities of the banking system is normally collected from the households, which is for a very short duration of less than 5 years. Whereas when you lend money to the infrastructure, it's always for a period exceeding 5 years. Because the gestation period is such, the interest during construction, as we call it, when you actually finance infrastructure, is too long a period. And in such a situation, unless you have long-term instrument to finance infrastructure, and particularly when, as I said, Prime Minister is embarking upon a very ambitious target of $1 trillion, much needed investment in infrastructure, in that case, a dynamic bond market will be necessary. And I feel this is a good step, which will actually lead to that over a period of time. But I personally request the Honorable Finance Minister, please try to create a roadmap for a very vibrant, dynamic bond market in India, which will actually, it's a domestic, because there is other element which you had also mentioned in the budget speech about sovereign borrowing globally. But I think dynamic market within the country, which can actually lead to even interest rate stabilization, which will provide opportunities for all the investors to find another alternate avenue of making investment through the bond market into the much needed and a growing possibility of infrastructure related instrument. So I think this is what is necessary. But even if you do that, will be required.
Mr. Prabhu, please make your concluding point.
Sure, I'm concluding. I'm just concluding, but Chairman sir, I was just सभापति जी अब तो मैं कहने वाला था कि अभी क्या करना चाहिए, तो आपने कहा उसको खत्म कर दीजिए. मैं कह रहा था बॉन्ड मार्केट लाना चाहिए, आप उसको खत्म कर दीजिए. मैं खत्म करने की बात नहीं कर रहा हूँ, कुछ दोहराने की बात कर रहा हूँ. तो मैं आपको विनती कर रहा हूँ कि we should try to work in a way that will lead to a dynamic financial services market in India, which in turn will make our real economy grow faster, which in turn will create more jobs. And in fact, the financial services in itself has a potential to create millions of jobs. And I think we should try to do that. And I respect the chair, so I conclude my speech here. But I definitely request the finance minister to look into all the aspects. Let me congratulate her. Let me congratulate the government for taking such a forward-looking, looks like a very innocuous bill, but it has a potential to make the financial system grow at a much faster pace. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Prabhu. The next speaker is S.R. Balasubramaniam.